The sun rises over the prairie, pale gold spilling across fields still damp with morning dew. Inside the Ingalls cabin, a quiet tension hums beneath the usual rhythm of breakfast. The clink of spoons, the crackle of the stove, the soft murmur of voices. Because today, Charles Ingalls is leaving, not for a hunt, not for supplies, but for a journey so long, so grueling, that even the toughest men in Walnut Grove speak of it in hushed tones. The 100-mile walk. It's 1873, and winter is coming early. The family's savings have run dry, and without money for seed, tools, or warm clothes, survival isn't guaranteed. But Charles has a plan. He'll walk to Mankato, a town nearly 100 miles away, to collect a debt owed to him. $200 that could mean the difference between feast and famine this winter. Caroline doesn't argue. She knows better than anyone that her husband's word is his bond, and so is his love for his family. But as she packs his knapsack with bread, dried meat, and a spare pair of socks, her hands tremble just once. Not from fear, but from the weight of silence. Laura watches from the doorway, eyes wide. "Will you be gone long, Pa?" Charles kneels, cups her face in his rough hands, and says softly, "Long enough to miss you, but not long enough to forget how brave my girls are." And with that, he steps onto the trail, alone, with nothing but his boots, his rifle, and his resolve. What follows isn't just a physical journey. It's a test of endurance, faith, and the invisible thread that ties a family together across miles of empty land. For 3 days, Charles walks, through tall-grass prairie that sways like an ocean, over creeks swollen with rain, past abandoned homesteads where dreams turn to dust. His boots blister, his shoulders ache. At night, he sleeps under the stars, wrapped in his coat, listening to the coyotes howl in the distance. Back home, life doesn't pause. Caroline keeps the fire burning, teaches Mary and Laura their lessons, tends the garden, all while pretending her heart isn't counting every hour. Laura tries to be strong, but she stares down the trail so often, Ma finally says, "Hope won't bring him home faster, dear, but work will keep us ready when he returns." Then, on the 4th day, disaster strikes. A sudden storm rolls in, not rain, but blinding snow, early and fierce. Charles is caught in the open, miles from shelter. He stumbles into a shallow ravine, builds a small fire, and huddles close, but the wind snuffs the flames again and again. Hypothermia creeps in. His thoughts grow slow, foggy. He sees Caroline's face, hears Laura's laugh, and for the first time, he wonders if he'll make it back. But just as his strength fades, a sound cuts through the white silence, the distant bark of a dog. Then, hooves, a voice. It's Mr. Edwards. Rough, loyal, and stubborn as ever, Edwards had heard Charles was making the trip. When the storm hit, he saddled his horse and rode out, not because he was asked, but because that's what friends do. "You're a fool, Charlie," Edwards growls, pulling him onto the horse. "Walking 100 miles in October? What were you thinking?" Charles, half frozen, manages a weak smile. "Thinking about my girls." Edwards doesn't say another word. He just wraps his own coat around Charles and rides through the storm all night, straight back to the cabin. When Caroline opens the door at dawn, she doesn't cry. She just takes her husband in her arms and says, "You're home?" Later, as Charles rests by the fire, Laura curls up beside him. "Did you get the money, Pa?" He shakes his head. No, the man had nothing to give. Laura's face falls. But then Charles reaches into his pocket and pulls out something small and wrapped in cloth. It's not money. It's a hand-carved wooden bird, made by a fellow traveler who had nothing else to offer. "Sometimes," Charles says, placing it in her palm, "the real treasure isn't what you go looking for, it's who shows up when you're lost." And in that moment, the Ingalls family learns a truth deeper than survival. You don't need $200 to be rich. You just need people who won't let you walk alone. Now, behind this powerful story was a quiet brilliance in how it was filmed. Unlike the first 2 episodes, 100 Mile Walk was shot almost entirely on location, in the hills and valleys of California standing in for Minnesota. Michael Landon, who directed this episode, insisted on realism. He walked the trail himself during scouting, and even had the crew film in near-freezing conditions to capture the rawness of Charles's struggle. And Victor French, who played Mr. Edwards, brought his own real-life loyalty to the screen. Off-camera, he and Landon were inseparable, brothers in every way but blood. That bond bled into their performances, making moments like the rescue feel less like acting and more like truth. This episode also marked a turning point for the series. It proved Little House wasn't just about cozy family dinners and schoolyard squabbles. It could handle hardship, sacrifice, and quiet heroism, themes that would define its legacy. For viewers in Singapore and around the world, this story resonated deeply. In a time before instant messages and GPS, the idea of walking 100 miles for your family felt almost mythical, yet utterly human. And in today's world of quick fixes and digital distance, it reminds us of something we're in danger of forgetting. Real connection requires showing up, in person, in storm, without being asked. So if this journey moved you, if you've ever waited for someone you love, or walked your own hard road, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had a Mr. Edwards in your life? Someone who came through when it mattered most? If you enjoyed this full storytelling of 100 Mile Walk, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to SG Top Celebrities, and hit the bell so you never miss another chapter from Walnut Grove. Thank you for walking these 100 miles with me. As Pa would say, the longest road is easier when you know someone's waiting at the end. Until next time, keep your heart open and your lantern lit.